go to our first audience question. And we've got Daniel Hughes, who's a regular, actually, asks questions at most of our Zooms. Daniel, are you there to ask your question to our guests?
Yeah, I'm here.
Excellent,
Hello,
there he is.
Hi, guys. If you could operate a Dalek for any classic Who story, what would be your choice?
Oh, that is a good question. Oh, gosh. I mean, obviously, to be there at the very beginning would have been amazing, wouldn't it? I mean, in that first story, that would be amazing. Can I just say one more and then I'll pass over? I'll tell you another one because I love it. I know it's not every fan's favorite story, but I think it's great and I love the way it's shot and it's got location stuff. So I'm going to just plump for Destiny of the Daleks here as well because I just think it's huge fun. That would have been an absolute scream to be on that one, wouldn't it? I'll think of something else in a minute and change my mind. But what do you reckon?
Gosh, I don't know. I think it's hard. I would love to have been the Dalek with Barbara, obviously. The
Dalek
because
with Barbara.
I got to do that with Billy. And
you mean the plunger?
We suggested it. Both of us suggested it to Joe Ahern that I would sit on the side of the dolly with a plunger in my hand to do exactly the same Barbara shot when the sucker goes towards Billy. So I'd love to have done that for the original Barbara.
Yeah. That'd be good. And Genesis. Yeah, I know that the Daleks aren't even in it much, but wow, imagine being in that story. Wow, gosh. All of them, please.
Right. We'll just wind back time here then.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some brilliant choices to choose from, that's for sure. Thanks, Daniel. Great question.
Good. Sorry, we did sort of, it just occurred to me, in a way over the years, we have kind of got the opportunity to do pretend versions of quite a few of them, because the first time we ever did Daleks was on the 30 Years in the TARDIS documentary, way back in '93. That was our first baptism of fire in the Daleks. So we got to do Westminster Bridge and, of course, the Evil of the Daleks Emperor set on that. So that we kind of almost feels like we had a little taste of.
Haven't come out of the Thames yet.
God, no.
That's one where I'll watch Nick do it.
Yeah, someone else can do that. Yeah, we'll get one of the actors to do that.
Yeah, that could be the remote control one. Yeah. That one.
Anyway, sorry.
No, you know what they're like. They won't want to spoil their remote control operators, so they'll want the real operators to do that.
Definitely.
Yeah, that must have been quite grim coming out of the Thames.
Yeah. Did that have someone in it? Or did they just pull it out?
It moves. The things move.
Yeah, no, it did have somebody inside, I believe.
Yeah, good God, that must have been shocking. Yeah.
Health and safety, unheard of in the 60s at the BBC for sure.
Yeah.
Or in the thousands.
Oh. No, we can't go there either, I'm sure. There's probably something stopping us going there with that one as well. Right, we are now going to go to our next question, and I have got the very lovely Jenny Shirt, who's coming up to ask us a question. So, Jenny, are you there?
Hello. Yes.
Hello.
What are your memories of operating the Dalek for the very first time?
Well, my memories of doing that. So our first time was doing Westminster.
It was on Westminster Bridge.
My memories is that they were lined up, and I got in one, and it was lovely and roomy and fantastic and brilliant.
I know what you're going to say now.
And I was all having a lovely time, and then there was like a tap on the dome, and whatever assistant director said, Nick is too big to fit in the other one, so this is the only Dalek he'll fit in. So if you want to just get out of that one. And then I went to this lame Dalek that was at the back, and I had to climb into that and hold the thing together while Nick got the lovely Dalek.
Got the luxury one. Yeah, sorry about that. Though in my defence,
you got me the job.
I got you the job. So there's that. Yeah, because I was in as the Cyberman already the week before or something, and then Kevin Davis phoned up again and said, "Right, we're doing Daleks. We need Daleks," and that's where I got Barney on board as well. But yeah, that is, in fairness, the one and only time where being a 6'3" Dalek operator stood me in any good stead whatsoever. Normally, I'm the one who comes out of it with a broken back, so that's all right. But yeah, it was very early in the morning. Of course, it was Halloween. I can remember that. It was the 31st of October, and we had to get there at like 5 o'clock in the morning or something. Although, as ever with these things, I don't think we actually started shooting until way later on. There were various interviews. Of course, it wasn't just the shot of the Daleks going over the bridge. There were all sorts. I mean, Verity Lambert was there, and Jessica Carney, and what's her name, who played Roberta Tovey, and they were all doing interviews with, for the show, with Daleks standing around in the background. So there was a lot of that going on. Caroline Ford was there too, wasn't she?
It was about 8 hours of Metropolitan Police officers wishing to have their photo taken with
Yep,
the Dalek.
absolutely. So when we eventually got to do the shot of the Daleks trundling across, by then, I don't know if it was 11 o'clock in the morning, it was certainly getting on a bit, and there was traffic, and there was a policeman holding up the traffic, which was very kind of him, because I don't think, I may be wrong, but I don't think they had actually got permission to hold up the traffic. Of course, they've got permission to actually film, but I think that was literally just a policeman saying, "Don't worry, I'll sort this out for you," and he held up the traffic while
He had about 1,500 photos taken of himself with the Daleks.
So that was all good fun. It was Mark Gatiss was there, wasn't he?
Yep.
Because we knew Mark already, but he was not a sort of known person. We were all young actors who'd just recently come out of various drama schools, and we were all milling around on Westminster Bridge. Did Mark do one of the Daleks as well? Yeah, he did. Yeah. And the other thing I remember about it, which is not strictly relevant and sad, but nonetheless, the other thing I remember about that day was it was just as we were finishing shooting and sort of packing up and getting ready to go off to our Halloween parties or whatever we were doing later that day, we heard the news that River Phoenix had just died, because that happened that day as well. So that was very sad. But I remember that, distinctly remember actually being on Westminster Bridge, and someone, of course, no one had, well, maybe a few people had mobile phones, but someone just had a transistor radio or something and heard it, or on their car radio or something. And that all sort of went around. So that was...
and I remember we went with, the next week, I think we did the studio sessions for it with the big Dalek Emperor set.
Yeah.
And the most sort of surprising thing about that was, as we were shooting and sort of waiting around, Roy Castle happened to be walking past the studio.
He was doing Record Breakers.
He was doing Record Breakers
in the next studio. Yeah.
So he walked past and they said, "Do you want to come in and have a photo taken?" So we all had photos taken with Roy Castle and Daleks, which was very exciting.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have that link to the movies.
Yeah, that was great, because they did have, again, Roberta Turvey was there and Jenny Linden, but they hadn't. Roy Castle hadn't been booked.
It's literally just that magic of the old BBC, which now sadly no longer there.
Yeah, he just happened to be
just in the adjacent studio.
Yeah, so that was quite exciting, actually. Yeah, it was all very exciting, wasn't it?
It's lovely.
Yeah. Great stuff. But yeah, we've got Kevin Davis and indeed Gary Russell, who kind of first put Kevin in touch with me about the Cyberman thing, to thank for this whole, the rest is history. And bless them. It was great fun on that show.
Yeah, Kevin certainly put heart and soul into that production.
Yeah.
It really, it stands well. It was at a point when it was a bit of an uncertain future, really, for Doctor Who at that stage. So to have that there, I think it was kind of nice, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely, yes.
Right. Okay. Thanks, Jenny. Brilliant question.
Thanks, Jenny.
To another question. I've got. Let's have a look. I've got Catherine, actually, who's got a question. Catherine, are you there? You've got your question ready for us? It's a little bit always a bit nervous if you don't quite know if the person's coming up to ask their question. Is Catherine there? If not, I can ask on her behalf. Okay, I'm going to ask the question. So Catherine asks, since you've been in New Who and done Big Finish, would you ever write a story for Doctor Who on TV? And if so, would it be about Daleks?
Well,
yes, love to. No, it wouldn't. There you are. Yeah. I think they're actually incredibly hard to write for, Daleks. So I'd prefer not to write for them. I'd rather write something else.
I'd love to write an episode for the TV show. Whether Chris Chibnall or anyone else would ever dream of they'd be scraping the bottom of the barrel before they got to us. But no, if they ever wanted us to, I'd absolutely love to, of course. Would I want to do it about the Daleks? Well, maybe. I think I'd probably sort of agree with Barney that it's kind of more fun when you're writing something to write a new thing, something that you've thought up yourself. There's always the danger of it being not as good, but it's nice to. I think it's more of an adventure to create your own stuff. Although, having said that, I mean, I would love to write. I'd love to write a Dalek story. I'd love to write I'm quite fond of the idea of bringing back, obscure monsters that have only been in it once before, which of course they've done it from time to time, haven't they? They've brought back the Zygons and things like that very successfully. So, maybe my script would be the return of the Plasmatons. I
really feel there's a script here for the return of Voton.
Oh yeah, that'd be all right. Yeah.
Salation.
Salation. Yeah,
that's a Dalek story.
Yeah. or maybe the Keller machine could come back and good sound effect.
If I did write a story for the Daleks, they would be all shot during the day in lovely, lovely locations around the world.
Oh, if we could write one that we knew we were going to appear in.
Yes.
You might be onto something.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Daleks go to the Maldives for a bit.
Yeah. We've never been to, occasionally, of course, they go and shoot in lovely exotic places. We've never had any of that. We're always on some sort of blasted wilderness in Pontypool somewhere, but that's all right. That would be nice.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'd love to do one where the Nymons team up with the gastropods from the Twin Dilemma, because then you could call it the Horns of the Dilemma. No, probably not.
It's a wonder that they've never asked us to write the TV series.
We've got Return of the Merker as one of the comments in the chat, which I find amusing.
The paint must be dry by now.
Gotta be. If not, we can always paint it again and really go for that authentic remake there.
Yeah.
Obviously, lockdown. I'm sure you've been working busily away on Big Finish. I know it came up in the last question. What's the latest goss? Got anything for us?
I've been doing some of the Ecclestons, which has been announced, I've been directing various different things and appearing in various different, Tom Baker stories that will appear in 2048 or whatever. They're going to, because they're so far ahead of themselves now, which is brilliant.
Also, outside of Doctor Who, I don't know if you've seen it was announced just recently, Big Finish have just recorded, and it's coming out later this year, a new 10-part adaptation of the much-loved Box of Delights, which Barney directed, with Derek Jacobi as Cole Hawlings. That's the part that Patrick Troughton played in the famous TV production, and
the rest of the cast, which we would love to announce.
And the rest of the cast has not yet been announced, has it? But it's a great cast. It's a wonderful cast, and that's quite exciting. I know it's not a Doctor Who thing, but I think it's going to be really classy. It's going to be really nice thing.
It's kind of got that Patrick Troughton Doctor Who association.
Oh, it's got a kind of, it's like it's in the sort of ancestry of Doctor Who, isn't it? Not just because Patrick Troughton was in the TV one, but it's from that sort of early 20th century fantasy writing period that sort of was the childhood reading of Terence Dicks and Robert Holmes and so on. I think it kind of finds its way into
I think so. Well, it's about a box that is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside.
It
was totally nicked by Narnia, and then Narnia was sort of nicked by Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It's got a place. I mean, my timeline at Christmas is completely full of Box Delights, as I indeed watch myself. So look, we're really all looking forward to it. So it might not be Doctor Who, but bring it on.
Yeah,
excellent. Absolutely, can't wait.
I'll make it good. Don't worry.
Please do. I wouldn't like it to be anything other than. We're going to go on. I have one more audience question, I think. No, we've actually got time for a couple, actually. We're going to go next to Peter McNally, who's got a question. Are you there, Peter?
He's emergently shifted. Hello, Peter.
Hello. I was just wondering, what was it like to work with Julian Bleach as the new revived Davros?
Oh, he's such a classy act, Julian.
Yeah, wonderful. He's a lovely guy. He's very he's quite sort of quiet. He's very he's very funny and chatty and nice and friendly. But he just sort of sits there, sort of quite you don't quite know what's going on in there. He's quite deep. He's a lovely guy. I remember when we were doing the first one, the first one that he was in. We got to know him quite well because it was quite a long shoot, that one. It was, it was a two-parter, and we were there for quite a long time, what seemed to be quite long. And I remember sitting in the bar with Julian on one in the hotel quite early on in the whole thing, and he was I was saying, so how, do you know about Doctor Who? Is Davros something that, and he said, well, no, not really. I sort of vaguely knew the character, but I'm not, he was not a big Doctor Who fan. He said, but they sent me one called Genesis of the Daleks, and they said that's the one I ought to watch for the thing. And I mean, I don't know, Nick. I've no idea if I'm getting it. I just hope I am. And I was thinking, well, you really are, actually. It's amazing, because it's such an amazing performance, isn't it? Because he's channeling Michael Wisher and actually all of the other Davroses. He's kind of synthesizing them all, but also making it his own thing. And he's such a good actor. Of course, technology changing the way it does over the years. Back in the day, Michael Wisher or whoever, or Terry Malloy, sort of basically they shoved a rubber mask on his head and painted his lips a bit, and I'm sure it took a while, but it didn't take that long. Julian was always first in and last out on the, he had to get picked up from the hotel at shocking
like 4 in the morning.
4 o'clock in the morning or earlier, to go in and have his makeup laboriously applied. And then at the end of the day, after a hard day's shooting, they didn't just rip it off, they had to carefully take it off bit by bit by bit. So he was always the last one back to the hotel as well. It was absolutely punishing for him, and of course he had to keep it on all day. I remember the first time we saw him in the makeup, he came in, we were already in the studio sort of milling about whatever we were doing, and he walked in, and of course he was just wearing his jeans and a t-shirt and whatever, and his head was Davros, and he just walked in and he looked amazing, and everyone kind of went, oh my God, look at that. And he just sort of looked around and said, I want you all to know that I'm nowhere near as pissed off as I look. No, he's great, isn't he?
No, he was fabulous. Really, really lovely guy to work with, and just so brilliant.
Yeah. I was really excited. I mean, that whole one was so exciting to work on anyway, because everyone was in it. Liz Sladen, who, of course, again, talking about our advanced age, she was she was our Doctor Who companion when we were both kids, So to have Liz, to be in an episode with her was just amazing. And of course, she was wonderful. And everyone was there, weren't they?
It was sort of, it was our equivalent to the 5 Doctors, really. So it was really exciting.
Wasn't it? Camille and everyone. It was just lovely. But with Julian as well, just being on the studio floor with him, watching him bringing Davros back to life, that was special. It was really special. It was really exciting. And, we knew it was it kept secret? It was, wasn't it? I think it was kept secret. I mean, there were there were sort of hints of it before he came into his spotlight and was revealed, but it wasn't like he was all over the front of the Radio Times or anything, as far as I can remember. And that was really exciting. I remember when we were shooting it, thinking, wow, if they can keep this secret, and it's just going to be such a thrill for the
There was a fabulous section of the script, which they never shot, which was how Davros got to be Davros, which was a sort of backstory, way before they had the sort of the childhood of Davros with Peter Capaldi. But there was a fantastic, about how he was got caught in a fire and all that. Completely forgot that. Really? Oh,
the yes, whole
You're right. Big section about him, about the face burning and all that kind of stuff.
With a flashback. That's right.
Yeah,
forgotten that. Yes, it was. That was in Stolen Earth. Yeah, or whichever one of those 2 episodes. Yeah, that's right.
So that was good.
I mean, it must have been a bit of a risk bringing the character of Davros back, and it shouldn't have been, but it's always a risk whenever you reintroduce older monsters, if you like. But I mean, it was a sheer touch of genius, and to have Julian doing the part, I think, was genius as well.
Yeah.
It could have backfired so badly, but because Julian was so committed, he's such a sort of he doesn't do this kind of thing. He doesn't do that sort of. I mean, I know he was in Torch and stuff like that, but he's basically a very, very serious theatre actor who doesn't even only vaguely knows what television itself is. And every now and then they manage to get him to do a role, and he's just brilliant.
Yeah. And then of course it was great to work with him again a few years later on the magician's nephew. I can never remember what it's called. That one anyway. The Witch is Familiar.
Prince Caspian.
The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, whatever it's called. That one. It was great. Although we didn't actually have that much with him in that one, because he was in his little sort of control center, and we were in our great big control room. And
we had a lot more to do with Missy.
We had one bit where we came down a corridor and found him lying on the floor. That was about it, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And that was, that bit where the Doctor has cruelly ripped him out of his chair and he's just lying on the floor with wires coming out. There's no CG there. That was absolutely Julian. There was the most ingenious bit of scenery had been constructed by
Michael Pickwood.
Michael Pickwood, thank you. Sorry, the brain's going today. Lovely, lovely designer Michael Pickwood. He's no longer with us, is he? He was brilliant, absolutely brilliant man. And so, Julian was kind of lying half in and half out of this false floor that was raised off the ground, and then they put all these wires and sparks and things kind of coming off his torso, and and he just lay there flailing around doing that for a bit, and it looked amazing, actually.
I've got time for one last audience question, and that's going to come into us from Ellen. Ellen, are you there to ask your question?
Yes. Hi, guys.
Hello, Ellen.
I was just wondering, since I always like the big crowded TARDIS crew, did you get any shenanigans or fun interacting with Jodie's TARDIS team? Any crazy stories from them?
Fun shenanigans with Jodie's
Well done
TARDIS
for
team.
staying awake, by the way.
What?
Because you're, yeah.
Oh, I see. You're on the other side of the world. Oh, well done. Yes, gosh, yeah, amazing. Gosh,
I didn't mean just during our anecdote.
Yeah, no, but yeah, well done for staying away during that story that I told just now.
I'm really not off myself.
I'm trying to think of fun. We had a lovely time. Trying to think of there's the bit where basically the Daleks are chasing Graham and now who was it? It was Graham and Tosin
And Chris Noth.
And Chris Noth. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Around the Dalek spaceship, or rather they're running around and there's Daleks there and they turn back and there's Daleks there and they turn back and there's Daleks there, and then the camera moved on him, and Bradley Walsh's line was something like they've got us surrounded or something like that, or they've got us cornered or something like that, and he just kept laughing because it's so obvious. Of course they've got us cornered. You can see that. We've just seen that happen. Do you really want me to say that? We're surrounded. And I can't remember if did it make it into the episode? It was something like that. Anyway, but he had really just laughing so much. And that was also, by the way, their very last shot in the whole, that was the end of their Bradley and Tosin leaving, of course. That was the very last shot that they did. So I think there was a bit of kind of last day of school hilarity going on anyway. So yeah, that was good fun. What else? I mean, Jodie was great fun.
Jodie is fantastic. Jodie, she was really lovely to work with, really adorable. But she, my goodness, she swears like a trooper.
There was a line, I can't remember which one it was. It was the one about you've fallen for the old switcheroo. She says, doesn't she? And she's got something just after.
She said a lot of other words.
And she was just not coming out quite right the whole time. And she had to go back and do that a few times. And there were a few extra words of vocabulary that came in between.
There's quite a lot of little Dalek I thought work each time she went wrong on that one.
Yeah.
No, it was lovely. They were a really sweet team, and you could tell they like each other a lot.
Absolutely delightful bunch. Yeah, and lovely to have to sort of for us to obviously it was the first time there'd been a Dalek story without just a remote controlled one.
It's hard not to tick off in your head, kind of, ooh, I've done a Jodie. And we were kind of sort of thinking, because it's been a long time since we did Daleks before that one.
Yeah, it's the first Dalek story we'd done since the two-parter with Davros, because after that, I think there was one Dalek in Peter's last episode, wasn't there? But that was just
lots of them were just static ones,
just kind of standing there. So they didn't get us.
So we sort of assumed that was the end of Daleks for us.
Might not be.
So it was lovely to actually tick Jodie off on our list as well.
Yeah, and also as I can't remember if was it you who worked out or was it someone who told you, but I know you told me anyway because it hadn't occurred to me that as of
Revolution,
just about to boast now, as of Revolution of the Daleks, if you count 30 years in the TARDIS in 1993, we have actually now beaten John Scott Martin's record as the longest running Dalek operators. So that's an honour. That's exciting. Not that we could ever replace the late.
We just don't have the hair.
No, we certainly don't have the hair. That's for sure. But so that's quite an honour. But yeah, I mean, I guess the two of us and Briggs, maybe I'm wrong, but we must be just about the only people who've worked with every Doctor, and of course, Big Finish wise, we've gone back pre Christopher Eccleston quite a lot anyway, and so on. But yeah, with every Doctor in the the new series, which is great. What an honour! I mean, that's really exciting. So yeah, they were a great bunch, lovely to work with, as they always are. And we always have huge fun with. I wish I could think of a slightly more hilarious story, but no, I mean, it was fun and games all the way, really, wasn't it? It was and John Barrowman, of course, who we've worked with before, was on top form. He was as outrageous as ever, so that was all huge fun. Yeah, but no, it's always great. There's always so many wonderful moments that you do, and occasionally a moment happens that's so wonderful that you immediately go, that is an anecdote. Remember it. Write it down. That's like the time when. So I've probably told you this one before, but the time when Catherine Tate got to the end of that incredibly complicated load of technobabble at the end of Journey's End, when she's making the Daleks spin back and forth and she's got all this technobabble coming out and she got it all absolutely perfect in one go. And her line at the end was something like, what did I tell you? Best temp in Chiswick. Is that what it is? Yeah. And she got right to the end of all that technobabble and probably said, what did I tell you? Best chimp in Teswick. Oh, bollocks, like that,
she never got it in one take after that.
Yeah, which was brilliant. Yeah. Best chimp in Teswick.
I'm not going to ask for any spoilers. I hope the phone's rung and we've got more Daleks to come, and you've got another stint with Jodie. But
well, fingers crossed.
no spoilers.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
We have well, even if we did know, obviously we wouldn't be able to tell you because we'd be exterminated, or we'd have to exterminate all of you, one or the other. But no. Well, fingers crossed. Let's see.
Well, I don't want to end on a low. I definitely don't want to be exterminated. What I would like to do is to ask the audience to put their hands together and thank very much our guests, Nick and Barnaby.
Lovely to see you guys.
Well, lovely to see all of you. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been absolutely huge fun.